The good side of GUI applications is if they're well designed, they're an absolute joy to use. The bad side is that most GUI applications are really poorly designed. It's very, very difficult to understand what users do and how they use them and what they're really expecting. And this is reflected by Apple. Apple actually designs 9 different user interfaces for everything with different teams, and then they pick the best out of that 9 every time. So the reason why most of their GUI applications that they build actually seem to flow in the natural way you'd expect is because they did it more than one time and picked the best out of the bunch. I have a car, and I like Nissan, but this particular one is been lent to me by my sister-in-law. She's in Cyprus for 2 years, and I don't drive it a lot. But this particular Nissan car, and this is not representative of all their vehicles. I'm not picking on them, but the people who did the software didn't seem to understand that what a GUI needs to do is anticipate what the user wants and guide them through the anticipation of what their next step should be. When you use an IDE for programming and you type something and it goes out there and starts filling in something for you and it says, well, these are your next choices. That's where you need to be. To give you an example, it has buttons for locking and unlocking the doors, and at nighttime they're lighted. But it lights the wrong side of the button to show you what the current state of the world is instead of what you would want to push next. So when you're driving and it's lighted, it shows that it's locked, which is an interesting effect, since when you stop and you want to get out, it shows that it's locked, not that here's the button that you push to unlock it. So they've got the wrong state in their software. And that is an incredibly common thing. That's not a GUI user interface, but it's an example of how user interfaces don't work right. So how do these GUI systems work? You start a loop waiting for an event. An event is a character typed, an event is some piece of input, an event is a mouse click or a mouse move. When that event happens, you propagate the event to the region of the screen for that event, the handler for that kind of an event. And given the current context, the region of the screen, then you take action to update the model, which is the data based on that event. And then you redraw the screen based on that event. So when I went into the spreadsheet and clicked on something and dragged it down, every mouse move, every few thousandths of a second is an event. And it's making changes to the screen as I'm dragging that. Now, that's all real time. And one of the things that happens is the difficulty that GUI programs do become real-time applications. Now, besides doing all this real-time stuff, they also have to do some actual processing. Remember, in Excel, it's also got this language it has to run. So now it has to have 2 different things that it's doing and make it look like it's doing them at the same time. And that look like it's doing them at the same time is a difficult proposition. It's not a simple thing to get the computer to do this, especially considering that most of these systems were designed when there was a single processor. So it's got to swap back and forth inside the program effectively between these 2 things. The most common model is a threading model that's been around for decades for doing this. And getting the concurrency to work right in a threading model is extremely difficult. Also, once you have a threading model, now you're dealing with concurrency, and testing concurrency is very difficult. So pretty much everything about these programs is hard. So they're difficult to build, they're difficult to maintain, they're hard to get right, and then you take this out to the business world, which is where most of these GUI applications were built, not the consumer stuff like Photoshop or Excel that has a tremendous amount of development effort and testing. And they built all sorts of forms that were supposed to work right, but quite often didn't really work all that well. And they combined this with stuff like modal dialogues. A modal dialogue is one that pops up and requires that you answer before it goes to the next thing. And you end up with an awful lot of really so-so software. Also, it's constrained by the fact that most of the stuff that it's doing is in this deterministic state model, not in the model of a language. A language is just inherently more powerful. So we have a low power state model trying to do all the things that you would in a language. And people have been trying for years to build some sort of a GUI interface that makes it easy to develop software so that it's not such a burden to develop software because, you don't have to train people to use a GUI and they can just drag and drop. And there has been some success along those lines, but generally speaking, it's been a horrible failure because you're trying to get something to happen that is very difficult. And as soon as you build stuff that's very difficult and very complex, it has a high failure rate. So I want to move on to a couple other examples of GUI interfaces, but we're going to take a look at the alternatives to GUI interfaces and how they work in some degree of detail.